I'm moving up there.
Oh, yeah, see it moving now.
Yeah.
Mic check. 1, 2.
Yeah, we should be all right now.
Your connection's unstable, please.
Yes, that's good.
It's good now? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. We start with Colossians again?
All right, yeah, we're going to start back with Colossians, like for the
switch the microphone now.
For the technical difficulties. But we seem to be on Jacob, for his mercy truly endured forever. We're back on. I minister Shalimar. This is the Light of Zion out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. We're going to be going into full understanding of marriage and the constraints of marriage that the Most High, has given us. The type of marriage that the Most High has bestowed upon us. Not the one we learned here in Esau's kingdom, but the marriage that the Most High prescribed for us to follow, the parameters of it, the understanding that is in it. We're going to get Colossians 3, verse 17 once again. Always giving all thanks to the Most High in the name of the Mashiach Yahushua.
The book of Colossians, chapter 3, verse 7. Mashiach Yahushua, giving thanks to the Allahayim and Abanawa by him, by Hashem HaMashiach.
Most High again in the name of the Mashiach Yahushua. This is the 5th day Bible lesson. We are in the 5th day. From the sun went down today, we've entered into what is called the 5th day. Which the world calls it Wednesday, but in the spirit of the Most High, it's the 5th day of the week. And tomorrow, as the sun goes down, we enter in the 6th day, which is also known as the day of preparation. So we are coming upon our Shabbat. It's coming up in a couple of days, so we are preparing in the spirit, and present ourselves clean in His sight. So we start out with Isaiah 55 and verse 6. We're going to read it again.
Seek ye the Most High while He may be found.
Right, it says, seek the Most High while He may be found. Right now, we have the airwaves, we have the books, we have the teachers. There's a time where the Most High can be found. It can be found in, you have men pouring the Spirit onto Yasharallah, onto Israel. Everybody's waking up. Everybody should know somebody that's an Israelite at this point in time, because the Most High is pouring His Spirit. So it says, seek Him while He may be found. Where do you go to seek the Most High? When it's written in Isaiah 34 and verse 16 that we seek the Most High out of the book of the Lord. Okay, so that's where we go to seek Him, right? Out of this Bible, right? Not in our own mind, not our own thoughts, but out of the Bible. Okay, read.
Seek ye the Most High while He may be found.
Come on.
Call ye upon Him while He is near.
Read.
Let the wicked forsake his way.
Let the what?
Let the wicked forsake his way.
Let the wicked forsake his way. So the condition that we were in before we repented and came to the Most High is called wickedness. This whole world is engulfed in wickedness. All right? Living contrary to the will of the Most High. So it said, let the wicked forsake their way. Read on.
Let the wicked forsake his way.
Uh-huh.
And the unrighteous man his thoughts.
And the righteous is what?
And the unrighteous man his thoughts.
And the unrighteous man his thoughts. Okay? So righteous thoughts. What we do in our mind, how we thinking. We're not thinking according to the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. We're thinking unrighteously. Okay? Because what is righteousness according to the Bible? If we look at Deuteronomy 6 and 24, it tells us that righteousness is by way of the commandment of the Most High. Okay? Righteousness is by way of the commandment.
Let the wicked forsake his way.
Uh-huh.
And the unrighteous man his thoughts.
Come on.
And let him return unto the Most High.
Let him do what?
Let him return unto the Most High.
Read on.
And He will have mercy upon him.
Right, the Most High will have mercy on us if we return unto Him. He said, let him return unto the Most High. By what? Leaving your own thoughts and your own ideas behind. Read on.
For He will abundantly pardon.
He will abundantly what?
Pardon.
Pardon. What is that talking about? Hold that. Give me, He said He will abundantly pardon. You ever suppose somebody shoot and say, pardon me? Right? So the Most High said He will abundantly pardon me. Now what? He will forgive us for our sins, for our wicked thoughts, our wicked ideas, our wicked customs, if we forsake them. But if we stay with them, we won't be forgiven. Read that.
The book of Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, chapter 20.
Come on.
Do so no more.
Read.
But ask pardon.
Ask what?
Pardon.
Right. So for you to ask pardon, you can't continue in the sin that you've committed. Okay. The Most High said, I will abundantly pardon, but you got to turn from the sins that the Most High is going to pardon. And right now, we're talking in Isaiah 55, it's talking about our thoughts. It says the unrighteous man's thoughts, how he's thinking. When it says unrighteous man, that's talking about man or woman. Okay? The way we're thinking was unrighteous, and we got to forsake those ways. Right? Read that again. Sirach 21, verse 1.
Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, chapter 21, verse 1.
Come on.
My son, hast thou sinned?
Come on.
Do so no more.
Don't do it anymore. Come on.
But ask pardon for thy former sins.
Read.
Flee from sin.
Do what?
Flee from sin.
Run away from sin. Come on.
As from the face of a serpent.
Like it was a snake that was going to bite you. You don't want to go nowhere near sin. We got to be very careful with that. Because sometimes the sin, where's the sin coming from? Where does sin come from? Where does sin come from? It comes from man, right? It comes from our own minds, our own thoughts. So how you got from your own ideas, right? We're going to prove all things we don't.
Sirach 21, verse 2.
Come on.
Flee from sin. As from the face of a serpent.
Read.
For if thou comest too near,
he's going to grab you. You're going to find yourself guilty of it. So we got to make sure we separate ourselves from all our own thoughts, all man's ideas, and let's put on the mind of the Most High. Read on.
The teeth thereof are as the teeth of a lion.
Come on.
Slaying the souls of men.
Right. What's ultimately going to happen? You're going to destroy yourself in sin. So this is why the Most High told us to flee from sin. All right. Don't even go near it so it doesn't grab you and pull you in. All right. So this is why we're going through these scriptures to get an understanding on where the change has to happen. It doesn't change in your actions. It changes in your thoughts. Because sin is conceived in the mind. All right. First you sin up here before you sin out in the physical. All right. And the reason why you sin here, because you're still holding on to man's thoughts, man's ideas. Your own ideas, your own thoughts. Let's go back to Isaiah 55. Isaiah 55. And read 7 again. Isaiah 55, verse 7.
Isaiah 55, verse 7.
Come on.
Let the wicked forsake his way.
Let the what?
Let the wicked forsake his way.
Come on.
And the unrighteous man his thoughts.
Right, so we got to leave our own ideas. We got to leave our own thoughts. Very important we understand this. Because there's things that we've been made comfortable with in this kingdom that are not comfortable with the Most High. Right? It's comfortable with man. With man, seems it's okay. But with the Most High, he's against it. Right? Let's get Proverbs 14, verse 12. Proverbs 14, verse 12. Ultimately, the topic tonight we're going into is marriage, going into understanding Hebrews 13, verse 4, no longer disrespecting the marriage of the Most High, but doing things according to his will. But first, we have to understand where the change has to happen. It has to happen in our thoughts. Before it can happen in our families, in our lives, it has to happen in our mind, in our spirit. We have to correct the way we think about marriage, the way we think about what the Most High has given us, the institution or the covenant of marriage, right? It was given to us for us to follow in its order. All right, let's read.
Proverbs 14, verse 12.
Come on.
There is a way which seemeth right unto a man.
Right, come on.
But the end thereof are the ways of death.
Are the ways of what?
Are the ways of...
It seems right. It seems fair. Right? It seems just to death. What brings us to death? Right? The scriptures tell us, right? Romans 6 and 29, right?
23.
6 and 23, Slakia. Right? The wages of sin is what? Is death. So we know what brings us to death, right? He said, "He that sinneth against him, what love? What is that? Love is death, right? Yeah. Right? Give me that one. Give me Proverbs 8, right? Proverbs 8. I want it straight to the point. He said, if you love sin, you must love death. Okay, we got to get away from that sinful mentality, right? The pride of life, not wanting to do the Most High will, but our own wills. Read that.
Straight to the point.
Come on.
Proverbs 8 and verse 36.
Come on.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 8 and verse 36.
Proverbs 8, verse 36. Read.
But he that sinneth against me,
right,
wrongeth his own soul.
Come on.
All they that hate me,
right,
love death.
Right. So you hate the Most High by not doing His will. You must love death. That's what the Father said. You must love death, man. Right. I don't know about you, man, but I ain't suicidal, man. You know what I mean? The Most High blessed me with His life. I'm trying to make it last as long as possible. Right. Therefore, I'm going to do what He said do. All right. So let's go back to Isaiah 55. All right. Now let's go to the 8th verse.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 55 and verse 8. For my thoughts are not your thoughts.
Come on.
Neither are your ways my ways, saith the Most High.
Right. So the Most High said, my ways are not your way. Right? That's your way. And we can't put our own ways on the Most High. Read on.
For as the heavens are higher than the earth,
right,
so are my ways higher than yours.
Of us. We have to elevate ourselves to do things the way the Most High said do it. Right? Sometimes it's difficult. Sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes we got comfortable with the ways that we're used to here in this world, but that's not the Most High. At some point, we got to make that decision. Who we going to serve? Who we going to follow? All right? Finish that verse.
Isaiah 55 verse 9.
Yeah.
For as the heavens are higher than the earth,
right,
so are my ways higher than your ways.
Read.
And my thoughts than your thoughts.
And my thoughts than your thoughts. Okay? So, with that being said, let's see the thoughts of the Most High concerning marriage. Let's get Hebrews 13 verse.
So the book of Hebrews, chapter 13, verse 4.
Matter of fact, Salaki, start with verse 1.
I'm about to say that.
Come on, start with verse 1. That all goes together right there.
Right.
Come on.
The book of Hebrews, chapter 13, verse 1. Let brotherly love continue.
Right.
Be not forget by some have entertained angels unawares.
What does that mean? Communicate with each other. Let brotherly love and sisterly love continue. Meaning that communicate with each other. Because you might be, the angels are here in the midst of us as we speak to one another. Right? And if the Spirit, most I could put the Spirit on somebody to bring some information to you. But if you lock your ears away, you will never receive that information. Right? You never receive that message that the Most High is trying to give to you. So He's telling us here to communicate with one another. Read on.
Remember them that are in bonds,
right?
As bond with them, and them which suffer adversity, as being yourselves also in the body.
Right. So wait, when people are going through troubles, Israel is going through torments, you're supposed to care, have empathy. That's what it's talking about. If they going through bonds, you in bonds with them, man. You're like, man, that's messed up. You know what I'm saying? We see all the time. We hear about people going to jail, innocent, doing 20 years. That's jacked up, man. Can you imagine that person's spirit? A lot of our people, they're so cut off from other people. We don't have no empathy. We got that individual-like mentality, right? But we got to come back and be Israelites. Meaning that if one person's going through it, we all going through it. Everybody understand that? Right? We have that thought pattern. It's called empathy, right? You lose that in this kingdom. This kingdom is every man for himself mentality in this kingdom. Read.
Hebrews 13, verse 4.
Come on.
Marriage is honorable.
Marriage is what?
Marriage is honorable.
Marriage is honorable, means respected. Read on.
In all.
In all. That means all marriage is honorable. All aspect of marriage is honorable. Okay? It's not this marriage is unhonorable. Marriage, once you're doing marriage according to the scripture, we don't get into that, is honorable. All right, read on.
Marriage is honorable in all. And the bed undefiled.
And the bed
undefiled.
Undefiled. What is the bed referring to now? Right? Why is it and the bed undefiled? What's the bed referring to? What is that referring to? What's the bed?
That it was just the union, the whole
pleasure that comes with sleep.
yeah. Well,
It-
not just that. They join in,
Well, it is. It actually is. It is intercourse. It's referring to intercourse. That's what it's referring to. The bed is undefiled. What goes down in the bed between a man and woman that's going into the covenant of marriage is under that bed is defiled. Right? But if you're going into marriage, that bed is undefiled. Everybody understand that? Because it takes that action for your marriage to actually be a marriage. And we're gonna see all things in scripture. So the bed is undefiled, meaning that what that union, when they come together physically, it is undefiled. Read on.
It's like
But
gotcha. Hold on. Hebrews 13 verse 4.
come on.
Marriage is honorable in all, and the bed undefiled.
Right.
But whoremongers.
But what?
Whoremongers.
But whores. Read on.
The Most High will judge.
The Most High will judge. So we don't want to be caught in two things: whoremongering and adultery, which are forms of fornication. Okay. Let's get the book of Sirach. Let's get Sirach 23 and 16. We're going to keep going back to Hebrews 13 and 4. We're going to break this all the way down. We're going to take piece and part and make sure we understand. Now, the marriage is honorable. We're going to go into marriage. Right? Whoremongers and adulterers shall be judged. So we're going to go into whoremongery now, and then we're going to go into adultery. Then we're going to circle back and look at marriage and see what the difference is.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 23 verse 16.
Come on.
Two sorts of men multiply sin,
Right?
and the third will bring wrath.
Come on.
A hot mind is as a burning fire.
Right. What's a hot mind? Somebody that's what? Got a short fuse.
0 to 100.
Male or female? That's the most I said that multiplies sin. Somebody quick to anger.
Yeah, 23:16.
Right. 23:16.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 23 verse 16.
Come on.
Two sorts of men multiply sin,
Right.
and the third will bring wrath. A hot mind
Right.
is as a burning fire.
Come on.
It will never be quenched
Right.
till it be consumed. A fornicator in
the body of his flesh multiplies sin. Okay. A fornicator in the body of his flesh. That means this is a person that what? They're marrying without, or they're laying with women without marriage. Okay. Or as a woman laying with some sort of bestiality. There's many different realms of fornication. Homosexuality is a form of fornication. Right? Pedophilia is a form of fornication. Pornography is a form of fornication. All right. These are all forms of fornication. Read.
Right. A fornicator in the body of his flesh,
right,
will never cease till he have kindled a fire.
Masturbation, that because you see, there's a thing about that. There's what they call a nocturnal emission, right? Where something while they sleep, right? Meaning that it's already is involuntary, right? But many people that go into I would say hand in hand, for lack of side by side. I don't know how to say it, right? I don't hand in hand wasn't the right way of saying that, but side by side, whatever the case.
It's a good thing we don't shake hands, right?
Right. So that it's not prescribed for us to be involved in. That's unmarried for a long period of time, and this is a way of them coping with their condition until they get someone. Is one thing, right? But if they are doing this constantly, it's not a right spirit. And I'm going to prove that to you in the scriptures too. Hold that.
Yeah, somebody posted something on Facebook a while back. It says, it's National Fornication Day tomorrow.
Right, that was give me, let's go right to it. 1 Corinthians 7 chapter, since she asked the question. Let's go right to it. 1 Corinthians 7. Right. But where are you at in Ecclesiasticus? All right.
The book of 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 1.
Come on.
Now concerning the things for a man not to touch a woman.
Right.
Nevertheless, to avoid fornication.
To avoid what?
Fornication.
Right. To avoid fornication. So what would make someone go into fornication? Right. It would be the desire for intimacy. All right. And then to avoid quenching that desire for a woman or that desire for a man, if you're a woman, read on, do what?
Nevertheless, to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife.
Have his own what?
Have his own wife.
Have his own wife. So part of having a man having his own wife is for him to avoid fornication. And it's that way for our sisters too, right? Because if they don't have a husband, they're going to get into what? Masturbation, right? That masturbation leads to what? Fantasizing about men, different men, it goes into a whole dark place.
The toy store.
Toy store, then the going to get the what they call it, mega sex emporium, right? Going to all these places, hustler, right? You see the places you drive down the street, right? We don't belong in those places. Okay, Esau with his pornography. And, nowadays you got with the cell phone invention. See, back in the days when I was coming up, you had to go into the video store. You had to go into the behind the curtain that was in a certain section. Everybody know where you're going and looking at you like, what you doing back there, right? Now you on your cell phone, you can see anything by clicking a couple of sliding your finger across the screen, right? Like a crystal ball, like the black mirror as it was called in folk. So more so today, even more elevated, we shouldn't get into that type of activity. You know what I mean? We should marry. You know what I mean? We should marry. But if you're on that route or you're trying to marry and you're in a situation where you're just not finding a person and just to get that thought or to get that energy released somehow, you go, take the edge off, what the case may be, right? Because some people take it to the next level. Next thing you know, that's all they do. All day, every day, right? Because it becomes addictive, all right? It becomes addictive, all right? You hear about people having what they call sex addictions and things of that sort. It's because they go into these dark places, all right? If you are a single man or you're a single woman, the scriptures say, read that again, Corinthians 7, verse 1.
1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 2.
7, verse 2, I should say.
Nevertheless, to avoid fornication,
right?
Let every man have his own wife.
Come on.
And let every woman have her own husband.
Right, to avoid fornication, to avoid pornography, to avoid the strip joint, to avoid the lap dance, right? To avoid all these things, have your wife, right? And for our women, have your husband, right? Read on.
Let the husband render unto the wife due benevolence.
Do benevolence, right? What is due benevolence? Benevolence is affection, right? It's physical affection. Do benevolence. What's the word D-U-E? What does that word mean? What does the word D-U-E mean? Do, in that sense. What does that mean? Huh? Right. When you get your bill and it says how much left, it says due. And that's what you got to pay, right? So it's what you owe, right? It's what you owe. That's how serious it is, because you got a lot of marriages where the woman in the marriage, she used her sexuality as a bargaining chip with her husband, right? Or the husband uses it as a bargaining chip with the wife and say, oh, well, you ain't put out the garbage, so you ain't getting none. Or you came in the house too late, you ain't getting none. And then a week passed, and then 2 weeks passed, right? Then they mad when the man done gone someplace else, you know what I mean? Or the woman is, pleasuring herself, right? These things happen. Why? Because due benevolence needs to be shown. Read on.
Let the husband render unto the wife due benevolence.
Come on.
And likewise also the wife unto the husband.
Come on.
The wife have not power of her own body.
Right, so this goes into what you're talking about, sis. The wife have not power of her own body, mean that what? She's not supposed to be withholding herself. Read on.
But the husband.
Right, but the husband have power. The husband says, this is when it's time, right? When he desires, she's supposed to freely give it to her husband. Read on.
And likewise also the husband,
right?
have not power of his own body,
Come on.
but the wife.
But the wife, when the wife wants to handle the business, you gotta get the business handle, right? That's what it is. This is why marriage was given, so you could avoid fornication. Read on. One of the reasons, I should say. Come on.
Defraud ye not one another,
Uh-huh.
except it be with consent.
Right. Defraud ye not one another, except it be for consent of a time. What does that mean, defraud one another? What does that mean? Withhold, right? Unless it be for consent, meaning y'all talk about it. Listen, we ain't gonna doing nothing, right? Y'all should know y'all not doing nothing when every week on the 6th day, if it ain't getting done, it ain't getting done to the first day, right? Because nothing happened on the Shabbat day. All right, read on.
Defraud ye not one another,
Come on.
except it be with consent
Uh-huh.
for a time,
Come on.
that ye may give yourselves to fasting and prayer,
Read.
and come together again, that Satan tempt you not.
What would Satan tempt you to do? Do what? Right? Fornicate, elsewhere, masturbate, all these things that we were talking about, right? Read on.
Right. And come together again, that Satan tempt you not for your incontinency. But I speak this by permission and not of commandment.
Come on.
For I would that all men were even as I myself.
Right. So what was special about Paul here is that he was a eunuch, right? He chose to be a eunuch. He was not without his member, right? But I understand people say, "Oh, you're a eunuch if you're missing your member." No, all right. That's if somebody made you a eunuch. Right? Yeah, somebody cut you off. They made you into a eunuch. Right. Cut your member off, right? Castrate you.
We could talk about that, but he couldn't go into the congregation if
he was castrated.
Yeah, because that's the law.
Right, right.
So, he's castrated? No.
No. Some people, we have been in slavery. They used to castrate us. If you had caught us messing with a white woman, guess what? You losing that member. Okay? We was castrated. They showed that in that movie, The Django, right? Was it The Django they showed that? One of them slave movies that they showed that. They would castrate us, man. All right? So understand that was part of, that happened to us. And anytime we was under the rulership of these Edomites, they had a thing about castrating us, right? All right. Karash, hold on a second, Karash.
Yeah, so somebody's significant other frauds them, right? How much accountability force the other person into temptation, or they both got
I'm not clear on that. If one, well, I guess you're talking about husband and wife, right? Because you said one party. You lost me there. Husband and wife, right? Husband and wife, husband or wife, then, right? Down on the husband, right? For a unconsented dispensation of time, right? And there could be ramifications for that. Okay, the ramifications could be separation. It could be a lot of things. It depends how far you want to take it. But it needs to be known that we're taking off worldly marriage and putting on spiritual marriage. In a spiritual marriage, these things are not to be so. All right, sis? Right. 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 Dispensation of time within reason. So if whoever is holding out on the intimacy, it has to be for a consented dispensation of time for a reason, right? So it has to be something that's reasoned, that's spoken about, right? If it's something of chastisement or something that's not the way things should be handled, like this, you know what I mean? That is not the will of the Most High. So and when you talk about a man stepping out, remember the scripture said, let's not do this for what Satan tempt you. So what happens is when this happens, Satan now comes into the house on wickedness. Because why? You open that door for Satan in your household, right? So let's make sure we stay with the scripture. That's what it's telling us, right? You're right.
If I can remember, there was a scripture that says that if the wife won't perform that and she can take another husband, Yeah. which is a lot. I don't remember exactly where, but I remember that was part of the reason for divorce. That it did.
It's fornication. When Christ said it's
And some uncleanliness in her,
accepted be fornication.
except it be fornication, right?
He's talking about something like not fornication. He's talking about like this.
Holding out. He's talking about holding out to the point where she's put away.
Yeah, I remember read about
Right.
that. Yeah.
Well, you have to look that up for me. I'm not aware of that. All right, let's
All right, verse 7.
7 and 7. 1 Corinthians 7.
1 Corinthians 7, verse 7.
Come on.
For I would that all men were even as I myself, but every man hath his proper gift of the Most High.
Right.
One after this manner, and another unmarried, and widows. It is good for them if they be able, even as I.
That they abide.
That they abide, even as I. And if they cannot contain,
read.
let them marry.
Come on.
For it is better to marry than to burn.
Right. It is better to marry than to burn. Meaning that what? To burn in your lust. Okay. All right. To burn in your lust. It's better to marry. So the Most High has prescribed for us, the understanding that it's better to marry. Okay. So since I brought up the topic of masturbation, it's better to marry than to be married to yourself, right? Better to be married to somebody of the opposite sex. So this is what the Most High prescribed us to do. Right? From the beginning. But let's go back to we're analyzing whoremongering. So let's go back to whoremongering. Let's stay on that topic, and then we move on to adultery, and then we're going to move into marriage. I just jumped there to answer the question about the fornication and masturbation. All right? So let's go to Ecclesiasticus 23 and 16.
I'll read that again.
Con.
In the Apocrypha, Ecclesiasticus chapter 23, verse 16.
Come on.
Two sorts of men multiply sin.
Read.
And the third will bring wrath.
Come on.
A hot mind,
Right.
is as a burning fire.
Read.
It will never be quenched till it be consumed.
Right. Somebody that's angry, right? That's a short fuse, popping off all the time, right? Whether it be male or female, they can never be. They're not happy until all hell breaks loose.
In the body of his flesh.
A fornicator in the body of his own flesh, right? Come on.
Will never cease till he have kindled a fire.
Right. He's not going to cease to work till he causes himself to have problems. Right. We went into the different types of fornication. That's where we left off at. Pornography, strip joints, prostitutes, right? Because nowadays prostitutes don't walk up and down the street no more. Where they on Instagram and Facebook or whatever, right? Cyber prostitution, right? Then they have old-fashioned whoremongering, right? Chasing women, right? All these things come about, through you. All right, read on.
All bread is sweet to a whoremonger.
All bread is sweet to a whoremonger. So what's that bread referring to? Women, or any way they can get their lust off is sweet. They just want to get it off. Read. All bread is what?
Till he dies.
Till he messes with the wrong one.
Yeah.
Right? And so what crime of what fornication is guilty will leave you dead, right? Adultery. All right, read on.
And a man that breaketh wedlock, saying,
It does what?
Breaketh wedlock, saying,
right?
Thus in his heart,
What he say?
who seeth me?
No one's far away. Read on.
I am compassed about with darkness.
Come on.
The walls cover me.
Come on.
Nobody seeth me.
Read.
Will not remember my sins.
Come on.
Such a man only feareth the eyes of men.
Read.
And knoweth not that the eyes of all the ways of men, and considering the most secret parts.
Right. So what do you mean breaking wedlock? What is this man doing? He's going after another man's wife. Because when a man lays with another man's wife, right? When she lays with that other man, what happens to her her wedding covenant? It is broken. She broke her wedding covenant, right? Because when a woman gives herself to a man, she's to be with that man for the rest of her life. All right, nothing to break that covenant. So when if another man lays with that woman, that man has broke that woman's wedlock with her husband. Okay, because a wedding is a locked covenant. Let's get Romans 1, or Romans 7 and 1, right? No, Romans 7 and 1. Romans 7 verse 1.
You know, a big thing going around on the web too is that that polyamory. You know what I mean? Where it be a man and two men and a woman in a relationship.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about all that now.
Right.
That's why, you know what, as Hebrew Israelites, we should not be uttering the words polygamy, polygyny,
right,
monogamy,
right,
polyamory. All these things are of the devil. They're not of the Most High. Nowhere in the Bible does it say any of these things. Okay? That's all concepts and considerations that's done by the wicked one.
right.
We as Hebrew Israelites, we want to say what the Most High called it. Okay? That's what we're going to do, right? If it's marriage, it's marriage. That's it. Okay? That's all that it is. Okay? There's no different, you believe in this type of marriage and I believe in that type of marriage. That's of the devil. That's of this kingdom. Hallelujah. Shalom, elder. Right? That's of this kingdom. That's not of the Most High. That's of your thoughts. And the first thing we went to today is what? We got to forsake our own thoughts. Let it not be heard out of our mouths. Let it not speak these things, because that's not of the Most High. See that?
Romans 7 verse 1. Know ye not, brethren, for I speak to them that know the law, for the woman which have an husband, right, is bound by the law to her husband.
Come on.
So long
as he is alive. It's the lock. That woman is locked to that man for as long as he is alive. Everybody understand that? Right? So that's a locked covenant. That's a covenant that's not supposed to be loosed or broken. Okay? Once it's loosed or broken, if someone comes and interjects, matter of fact, let's get Leviticus 20 and verse 10. I'm going to go over to adultery now.
The book of Leviticus chapter 20 and verse 10.
Come on.
And the man that committeth adultery with another man's wife,
come on,
even he that committeth adultery will be put to death.
Right, they should be put to death. That woman that was married, that was locked to another man, and that man that breaketh wedlock, both shall be punished by death. Okay? So we got to put precept upon precept so we understand what the Most High is saying here. Okay? So the lock of marriage is the woman locked to the man. Everybody understand that? Okay? The woman is locked to her man. All right? Now, women might say, well, is the man locked to the woman? Right? Let's see. Give me, let's get 2 Samuel 2 and verse 1.
The book of 2 Samuel chapter 2 verse 1. And it came to pass after this that David inquired of the Most High, saying, shall I go up into any of the cities of Judah?
That's 2 Samuel 2 and 1?
Yeah, 2 Samuel 2 verse 1.
Go ahead.
And the Most High said unto him, go up. And David said, whither shall I go up? And he said, unto Hebron. So David went up thither, and his two wives also.
Right. Okay.
And what's that? What's her name? Her name?
Oh, and his two wives also.
Right. And his two wives also.
Now, what was that? I know, right? Right.
And a hen, was a hen or name?
Yeah. The Jezreelite.
Right, the Jezreelites.
Right.
And Abigail,
right.
Nabal's wife, and Carmelite.
A Carmelite.
The Carmelite, right.
Right. So, of course, Nabal now is passed on, But David now has here his two wives. One was a Jezreelite and one was, right, a Carmelite, right?
Mm-hmm.
Two of his wives, he went up. So if David could have two wives, was David, was that possible in the sight of the Most High to have two wives? It's evidently because it's recorded here. So we understand that the wedlock, that the lock that's talking about is the woman is locked to her man. But as for the husband, he could have wedlock with more than one woman. Okay, he can have wedlock with more than one woman. That means these women are locked in with him for the rest of his life, so long as he's alive. Okay, that's a household in the sight of the Most High. Okay.
There's a verse also in I think 2 Samuel 2 where when David put away 10 of his wives and he says they remained as if they were a widow for the rest of their life.
That when he was
that's when his son was trying to kill him after that.
right.
Okay.
But I don't know where that verse is offhand. All right. Let me get 1 Kings 11 and verse 1. Go ahead.
So what about when David slept with one of his soldiers' wives?
Yeah,
Should he get them punished with that?
that's right. He should have. He should have. And the Most High put him through hell for that, for what he did. But we're going to get that, right? Because that the Most High don't tolerate. All right? We're going to get that understanding. Read that.
1 Kings chapter 11, verse 1.
Uh-huh.
But King Solomon loved many strange women,
Right?
together with the daughter of Pharaoh,
Uh-huh.
women of the Moabites,
Right?
Ammonites, Edomites, Zidonians, and Hittites, of the nations concerning which the Most High said unto the children of Israel,
What did he say?
ye shall not go in to them.
Right. So the problem with Solomon's wives, right, is that his wives were what? Strange. But he married strange wives. A lot of people say, well, Solomon sinned because he had so many wives. No, that's not what the scriptures say. We just read what the scriptures say. Read that again.
1 Kings 11, verse 1.
Uh-huh.
But King Solomon loved many strange women,
Uh-huh.
together with the daughter of Pharaoh,
Uh-huh.
women of the Moabites,
Come on.
Ammonites,
Come on.
Edomites,
Read.
Zidonians,
Come on.
and Hittites,
Right?
of the nations concerning which the Most High said unto the children of Israel, ye shall come in unto you.
Right. So he was doing what? He was going off. He was breaking the commandments. Read on.
For surely they will turn away your heart after their gods.
Right?
Solomon cleave unto these in love.
He cleaved onto these women in love. He desired to have these women. Okay? He cleaved onto these women and he was not supposed to have them. Everybody understand that? That was his sin. Go read Deuteronomy 7, verse 1. All right? Because he said it was written for him not to do this. Where was it written? Written in Deuteronomy 7, verse 1.
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7, verse 1.
Come on.
When the Most High thy power shall bring thee into the land, whether thou goest to possess it,
Uh-huh.
and have cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites, and the Girgashites, and the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier deliver them before thee.
Uh-huh.
Thou shalt smite them.
Thou shalt do what?
Smite them.
Come on.
And utterly destroy them.
Read.
Nor show mercy unto them.
Come on.
Neither shalt thou make marriages with them.
Right.
Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son,
Right.
nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son.
Right. So we're not to make marriages with these other nations. And this is what Solomon's sin was. It wasn't the fact that he had multiple wives, it's the fact that he was laying with these other nations, these strange women, as the Bible calls it. Give me Proverbs. Give me Proverbs 5 and verse 1. Proverbs 5 and verse 1. Proverbs 5 verse 1.
I got you. The book of Proverbs, chapter 5, verse 1.
Uh-huh.
My son,
Come on.
attend unto my wisdom,
Uh-huh.
and bow thy ear to my understanding,
Come on.
that thou mayest regard discretion, and that thy lips may be may keep knowledge.
Come on.
For the lips of a strange woman.
For the what?
For the lips of a strange woman.
For the lips of a strange woman. Come on.
Drop as a honeycomb.
Drop as a honeycomb. She might be, fair to look upon. She might be good to lay with. Right? Read on.
And her mouth is smoother than oil.
It said her lips like a honeycomb, mouth smoother than oil. Read on.
But her end is bitter.
But her what?
But her end is bitter.
But the end thereof is bitter. Read on.
As a wormwood.
All right, come on.
Sharp as a two-edged sword.
Come on.
Her feet go down to death.
Her feet go down to where?
To death.
Read on.
And her steps take hold on hell.
And her steps take hold on hell. So what? Are we supposed to deal with strange women? La. It's simple. It's simple. That's the sin of Solomon, dealing with the strange woman. It wasn't the fact that he had wives, but the fact that he had wives of these. That's a form of fornication. Even laying with these nations is a form of fornication. Because we're not supposed to do that. What is fornication? Any unlawful sexual act. Right? So we laying with these other nations. Most I said, don't do that. He said, if you incline your ears to his wisdom, you wouldn't do that. All right? So we're understanding. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I got one for you. Tobit 4, verse 12.
Right, 4 and 12. Absolutely. I got it here too. But you go get it, 4 and 12. If you want to go there, then you also give me Esdras. First Esdras 9 and 7. Give me Tobit 4 and 12, then First Esdras 9 and 7.
The book of Tobit, chapter 4, verse 12.
Yep.
Beware of all whoredom,
Right.
my son.
Come on.
And chiefly take a wife of the seed of thy fathers.
Right. Take a wife of the seed of thy fathers, thy own nation, of thy own people. That's where you go get your wife from. So that's what Solomon was guilty of. Read on. To wife. All right. Again, the scriptures tell you, do not deal with these strange women. Now give me first.
Which is
Esdras
no,
9 and
okay,
7.
going to know. First Ezra chapter 9, verse 7. So Ezra arose up and said unto them, thereby to increase the sins of Israel. And now by confessing, give glory unto the Most High, the power of our fathers, and do his will, and separate yourselves from the heathen of the land, and from the strange woman. Then cried the whole multitude and said with a loud voice, like as thou hast spoken, so will we do.
So what did he tell them to do? What was the instruction? What was the instruction?
Get rid of them women.
Get rid of them heathen women, man. What are you doing? Separate yourself from them. Okay? That is what the Most High has. We're supposed to be dealing with these other nations. All right? That's not our women. We have our own women. All right? We're not supposed to do a fornication. All right? But we are to marry. All right? Let's go all the way from the beginning. Let's go to Genesis. Let's start from the beginning. Let's get this understanding. Because we don't have to go far. The Genesis, in the beginning, from the time he created us, he gave us instruction. All right? Give me Genesis 1:26.
The book of Genesis, chapter 1, verse 26. And the Most High said, let us make man in our image,
Right?
after our likeness,
Come on.
and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea,
Right?
and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth,
Come on.
and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth.
Right?
So the Most High created man in his own image.
Right?
In the image of the Most High, Yahweh, created he him.
Right?
Male and female created he them.
He created male and female. Created he them.
And the Most High blessed them, and the Most High said unto them, be fruitful and multiply.
And do what?
Be fruitful and multiply.
Be fruitful and multiply. Come on.
And replenish the earth.
Right?
And subdue it.
Come on.
And have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth.
So he told them to have many children. What do you have to do to have children? What does a man have to do with a woman to have children?
Pleasure. I'm asleep.
Huh?
Play with them.
You said lay with her. Give me another word.
Go in onto her.
Go in onto her, right? He has to marry her, right? Because what is marriage according to the scriptures, right? Let's get it. Exodus, all right? Let's get it. He has to marry her. Matter of fact, we don't got to go to Exodus yet. Give me Genesis 4, verse 1.
Oh. Genesis chapter 4 and verse 1. And Adam knew Eve, his wife.
Right. Adam knew Eve, his wife. So when Adam was laying with Eve, who's Eve? Adam's wife, right? Was Adam took Eve down the aisle to marry her? I don't read about that.
Gave her the ring.
He gave her the ring and said, "You knew my wife."
He
now?
went down on one knee.
I didn't read about it. Right? Right? She was presented to Adam. He said, "This is bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. This is mine now." He made a covenant with this woman that what? They would never part. Right? He had made a covenant with her. Right? And then Adam knew Eve, and she what? She conceived. That's how you multiply. So when he said be fruitful and multiply, what is he telling the men and the women to do? Marry. He's telling them to marry. Because there's no other way for us to multiply but to marry and be righteous. Now we'll be fornicating, right? You see our sisters walk around with babies that they fell from the sky, right? They came what? By way of fornication. Because there was no covenant, there was no wedlock, there was no marriage. According to the Bible, right? Adam knew Eve, his wife, right? Just like the angel told Joseph, "Fear not to take Mary thy wife," right? How did Mary become his wife? These things written? No. But what? We know that there's an honorable way of taking a woman, and we're going to go into that in the scriptures. So we're not saying there is no ceremony, but we're saying what makes the marriage is when y'all lay together. Then y'all are bound together. Everybody understand that? Right? Let's get it. Now let's get our Exodus. Let's go where we're going. Right, 22:16. Yeah, 22:16.
The book of Exodus, chapter 22 and verse 16.
Come on.
And if a man entice a maid,
right,
that is not betrothed,
right,
and lie with her,
come on,
he shall surely endow her to be his wife.
No, maybe.
He shall surely endow her to be his wife.
What does it mean to endow? What is an endowment? It means to pay, right? He has to pay for her, right? He entice a maid and lie with her. He has to pay for her, okay? Right? Because why? Why does he have to pay for her? Because what happens after that? Not just the virginity, what happens after that? She now what? She now belongs to him. So if you take something without paying for it, what do they call that? Stealing. Right?
You come to the world, they steal a lot of these worlds.
These women been stolen.
They stolen, yeah.
All these women are stolen property, man. And y'all ain't pay, man. Y'all need to pay. I got to pay up, man. I need to make some phone calls and send some checks out. All right? So, reality of it, what? So now we're looking at the process of marriage. We know there's an endowment. We know there's a lying together. Okay? We're starting to look at the putting precept upon precept, understanding everything that comes into play with marriage. But we don't find ourselves whoremongers and adulterous. Okay? Entering that wedlock. That wedlock is a lock of a man and a woman that's locked together. Okay? Once they lay together, they are locked together. All right? Let's get Deuteronomy 22:28 also over here. All right? Let's get the law. Understand the law on it. Deuteronomy 22:28.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 22 and verse 28.
Come on.
If a man find a damsel that is a virgin, which is not betrothed, and lay hold on her and lie with her,
Come on.
and they be found, then the man that lay with her shall give unto the damsel's father 50 shekels of
Shall be what?
his wife.
And she shall be his wife. Okay, so it's not complicated. You cannot lay with a woman and they'll say that's not my wife. I'm just laying with her. Then you're dealing with fornication. Then you deal with, and what scripture we breaking down? We breaking down Hebrews 13 and verse 4, which reads, marriage is honorable in all. Adulterers, Yahweh will judge. That's what we're breaking down tonight. All right? Whoremongers and adulterers, the Most High will judge. So we must marry. Okay? Right? You lay with a woman, all right? You got to go see the father. You got to go, there's different things you want to do, but that covenant is set. Okay? Now, you should do these things before you lay with her. Like our forefathers showed us, our forefather Abraham, okay? They did things in the righteous order of operations, all right? Which is shown to us in the book of Tobit. Let's get the book of Tobit. In the most honorable order of operations, this is how it's supposed to take place.
You know, and also, Charlotte, you know, when these guys, they lay with the woman as a virgin,
right?
You know, and then you leave her. What are you leaving her to now?
Right.
You're leaving her open to commit fornication with someone else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Scriptures talk about that too.
Yeah.
You commit adultery. If you lay with a woman, what she's going to end up doing?
Right.
Lay with somebody else.
And somebody else after that.
And then, so you started this.
You started it, right?
Let's get Tobit 8. Masaki, Tobit 7. Start with 13. 7:13.
The book of Tobit, chapter 7, verse 13.
Come on.
Tobit 7 and verse 13. Father.
Uh-huh.
And he took her by the hand,
right,
and gave her to be wife to Tobias.
Right. This is the right order of operations. All right. The Most High covered all bases. If you lay with the woman first, you got to go see the father. Right. But the right order of operations is that Tobit went to her father, Raguel. Raguel took his daughter Sarah by the hand and gave her to Tobit. Right? This is the same operation that what our forefather Jacob did with his wife. He went to the father and the father gave her the daughter. Read on.
Okay. Tobit 7 verse 13.
Come on.
Then he called his daughter Sarah, and she came to her father, and he took her by the hand and gave her to be wife to Tobias, saying, behold, take her after the law of Moses.
After the what?
After the law of Moses.
So he kept Moses' law.
Right.
He said, take her after the law of Moses. This is righteous marriage. This is how marriage is supposed to go down in Israel. Right? Not on YouTube, not YouTube, but on Facebook, Instagram, and IM, and what do they call that? The IM?
IMO?
Yeah. The DM, right? Yeah. Something like that, right? The direct messenger, right? Now you direct message the woman, and now she's right. Not through sexting, right? That doesn't make her your wife. Sexting, that's fornication. Sexting. Okay, that's all that is, right? Do you understand why sexting is fornication? That even though there's a screen, a computer screen between you and the woman, you still going on. Let me show you something in the scripture. I know it's another type of hold where you at, but it came up, right? Give me Leviticus, was it 15? Uncovered nakedness.
Uncovered nakedness. 15? That's 18. The law of nakedness? Huh? The law of nakedness?
Yeah.
18.
Leviticus 18. Yeah, Leviticus 18
Where you want to start?
and verse 6.
6? Okay. The book of Leviticus, chapter 18, verse 6.
Let me show you something.
None of you shall approach to any that is near of kin to him,
Right?
to uncover their nakedness. I am the Most High, your power.
Right. So it's a wicked thing to uncover the nakedness of someone that's near to kin to you. Right? What does it mean to uncover their nakedness? Huh? To lie with them? See their shame, right? To uncover their nakedness. It's saying what it's meaning, right? They're in a sexual manner, of course, right? To take off their clothing, right? To look upon their nakedness. Okay? And he said it didn't go that far to say what they're gonna do. He said, don't uncover their nakedness. Right? Read on.
Verse 7. The nakedness of thy father,
Uh-huh.
or the nakedness of thy mother, shall thou not uncover.
Right? Did not Ham sin in this way?
That's what we're gonna say.
That's right.
Because I've been meaning to ask you guys this because after pulling up with a couple of other scriptures,
Uh-huh.
according to I think Deuteronomy, it says that Leviticus 20 verse 11, if you uncover your father woman, it is your father's nakedness after. So I'm like, what if that was what Ham actually did?
No, it was the father, because when you read the whole story, you see that he woke up, he realized what was done. And they say he was drunken. So they didn't say nothing about his wife. I mean, so that's how we know that it is the father. But I understand where you're going with it, right? It could have been, they could have both been in their nakedness. You know what I mean? But he should have covered them.
Yeah, because it says the nakedness of the father's wife.
It's his nakedness. That's right. Absolutely.
That's because you possess the woman. And when you get the wife, she's
Right.
your possession.
Y'all one body, y'all one
Yeah.
flesh.
Right.
So your nakedness is,
So,
her nakedness is your nakedness, right? That's why when a man tells his wife to cover herself up, he's covering up his own nakedness, right? He doesn't want his own shame to be shown. All right. A lot of women, they say, "Oh, that's my body. Why are you telling me this is me? This is mine. It's not yours anymore. It was yours. When you were single, it was all yours. But now that you become someone's wife, it is no longer yours. You've given yourself to that man. You're into that lock. But we're going to go back into that. Let's read.
The nakedness of thy father, or the nakedness of thy mother, shall thou not uncover.
Right. So not because you're on a computer screen mean that you're not seeing the nakedness. Okay. You're still seeing her nakedness. If she's uncovering her nakedness for you with your back in the days it was Skype. I'm showing my age. Nobody Skype no more, right?
Nobody Skype no more.
I don't think they Skype no more. That was I don't know what they do. Hangout now or Google
Hangout was out.
Hangout, FaceTime. I don't got an iPhone, so they FaceTime or right. What they call WhatsApping.
Yeah.
Right. Too much. You married a woman. She in England. You here. You married her because you WhatsApped her nakedness. You wicked, man. You shouldn't be WhatsApping the woman nakedness. For one, right?
This guy's
what kind of husband
man.
you gonna be to this woman 1,000 miles away?
And then you hear about a while back that governor, he's like 60-something years old, Sexton,
right? 60-something years old.
You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
We know.
At that age. Oh man, what you got to show at 60? I don't know. Anyway, verse 8. The nakedness of thy father's wife,
right,
shall thou not uncover.
Right.
It is thy father's nakedness.
Come on.
The nakedness of thy sister, the daughter of thy father, or the daughter of thy mother, whether she be born at home or born abroad, even their nakedness thou shalt not uncover.
Right. So if you're a half sister, it don't matter. But going into understanding here is you're not to uncover someone's nakedness, right, in a sexual manner, of course. Now, this is not talking about if somebody has an ailment, there is an EMS, or you know what I mean, somebody shot, and you have to take their clothes off to get them what they need or some sort of assistance. It's not talking about that. This is talking about you viewing them in a sexual manner, right, for pleasure. All right, that's what it's talking about, for pleasure. So we're not to uncover that nakedness for pleasure. Okay, so yes, you're not supposed to be sexting and all these type of things on the line, on the internet, right, on the cell phone, unless that's your own wife and y'all can do what y'all want to do. Y'all been undefiled. You right? Want to show y'all, want to show each other. That's your business, right? I don't suggest you do that because everything that goes over the internet, guess what? It's saved somewhere, right? Nothing is private, even though I call you. It's not a private conversation. All right, you got to understand that everything goes through a network, and everything that goes to that network is recorded. All right, and it's held. That information is held of information.
I don't think they know. I don't think they know that.
Okay, I'm going to it. Right?
I don't think they know.
There's a place called the Knock, right? It's down in Florida,
Right.
And there's one in Georgia that uphold everything you do on the internet is up there. Everything you do on the internet is there. Okay, so don't think for a second if you took a picture and sent something somewhere that they can't pull that picture back up. Okay, everything goes through a network. Okay, Esau and his World Wide Web, right, is a web. And what thing when a bug hits the web, what happens? What it gets? It gets trapped. It don't go no place else. It's finished, right? It's going to be in that web. So his World Wide Web, www, everything is trapped out there. So don't think nothing is private, nothing is sacred. Oh, this is just between me and you. This is for your eyes only. I mean, hit a text for your eyes only. Yeah, right. You know how much people are going to see this? You know what I'm saying? Even in task force that goes around and taps into all your phones and your messages. Come on, they're cyber police. So let's keep it real, right? Only thing's gonna be for my eyes only is only me and you in the room. And guess what? The Most High here anyway. He saw it too, right? He said his eyes are 10,000 times brighter than the sun, beholding all the ways of man. So yeah, he's there too. But as long as you're doing what's right in the sight of the Most High, there's no problem here. He said our bed is undefiled. As long as I'm covenanting this marriage with this woman. Let's go back to the book of Tobit.
They got a TV show called A Person of Interest, where like your number will come up. You know what I mean? Your social security number, and that means something like you're gonna get killed. So these guys go out and try to save you.
Right.
But how do they do it? They got cameras where they tap in. No, all the cameras. That's
all the cameras could be taken.
Especially London and England. Oh, for face recognition, all that.
Scan.
Yep.
They know who you are, what it is. You put now everybody got that finger thing on their phone. Now they got your fingerprint. Oh boy. They register right there. Where you put that back. Oh, yeah, I got the fingerprint on my phone. Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. Now we got your fingerprint. Yeah. Right? You know what? We need not to worry about them. I'm not saying to worry about them, but just be aware that nothing is private unless it's private. Okay? Nothing is private unless it's private. Door closed, you and her. That's private. All right?
Big brother's watching.
Big brother's watching. All right, let's go. Let's get to the covenant.
Okay. Where we at? 7 again?
Yeah, we are back at Tobit 7. We're reading verse
13.
13.
The book of Tobit, chapter 7, verse 13.
Come on.
Then he called his daughter Sarah, and she came to her father.
Yep.
And he took her by the hand and gave her to be wife to Tobias, saying, Behold, take her after the law of Moses, and lead her away to thy father.
Right.
And he blessed them, and called Edna his wife, and took paper, and did write an instrument of covenants, and sealed it.
And write an instrument of covenants, and sealed it. All right, so should we have not talking about going down to Esau's court system, because they can't uphold our covenants. They're beneath us. All right, they have their own law and their own law of the land that has nothing to do with the Most High's commandments. Once they legalize a man and man could get married, a man and dog, and all kind of foolishness, they really null and voided their marriage paperwork. All right, because that's not of the Most High. But as for us, we're to do things in writing. All right? Since you had a question?
I was told that the only reason he had to have a writ for her is because she had been married multiple times before.
That's somebody added on to the scriptures. Right? Where did he get that from? What verse told him that?
That she was married multiple times.
No, that was the reason why he had a written marriage. No, there was no, they didn't even discuss that. All right, so that's somebody adding on to the scriptures. Right? We already know that there's an endowment and then there's a covenant. And to do things in writing only solidifies what we do. All this that we're reading, this is our covenant that we're reading here. When we open the Bible, we're opening our covenant, right? Right? The covenant that we made with the Most High. It is written, right? Or else that's why you can go back and see what did we agree to, right? Say anything. Somebody can say, "Yeah, no, I never said that." You say you're my husband? No, I never said that. Never. You say you're my wife? No, I ain't got. Right? If nothing is preventing you from putting in writing, why would you not put it in writing? Right? Many things we have done, we had to put it in writing. All right? Any covenant is put in writing or sealed by the king's name or something to that effect. All right?
Somebody having a little thing online over here, up here.
What's going on online? Any questions online? Not class. All right? Pay attention to class. A lot of information coming out. All right? We got to do things in writing, man. You know what I'm saying? Who buys a car or a house? This is a transfer of what? Of possession, right? You're getting a possession. Give me the instrument and sealed it. No, finish that. Finish that in Tobit. We'll go on to the next one then. Finish it in Tobit. Then I'll show you. I'll prove more that we got to put it in writing. All right.
Somebody's saying somebody's an Edomite online because they got Caesar Borgias.
Come on, let's
Yeah, don't worry about that.
All
right. That was it. More? 15, 16?
Finish it. Yeah, finish it. Finish the chapter.
Then they began to eat. After Raguel called his wife Edna, and said unto her, "Sister, prepare another chamber,
right,
and bring her in thither."
Right.
Which when she had done as he had bidden her, she brought her thither, and she wept, and she received the tears of her daughter, and said unto her, "Be of good comfort, my daughter.
Right.
The Most High, the power of heaven and earth, give thee joy for this thy sorrow."
Right. So she was what? Nervous because of her previous marriages that didn't go the right way when it came down to the bedchamber. Right. Many of the 7 had died prior to it. Let's just.
I'm finished. "Be of good comfort, my daughter. The Most High, the power of heaven and earth, give thee joy for this thy sorrow. Be of good comfort, my daughter." Chapter 8, Tobit chapter 8, verse 9?
8 verse 5.
5, okay. Tobit chapter 8, verse 5. Then begat Tobias to say, "Blessed art thou, O Yahweh, of our fathers, and blessed is thy holy and glorious name forever."
Right.
"Let the heavens bless thee, and all thy his wife, for an helper."
Right.
"And stay. Of them came mankind. Thou hast said, It is not good that man should be alone. Let us make unto him an aid like unto himself. And now, O Yahweh, I take not this my sister for lust."
Right.
"But uprightly."
But what?
Uprightly.
So now this marriage, he's now confessing the covenant of marriage unto the Most High. And he made reference to who? To Adam and Eve, right? So we understand that marriage, right, it is a covenant that is a lifelong covenant, and it is a reference all the way back to the beginning, right? So I take not this woman according to lust, but according to what? Read on.
"And now, O Yahweh, I take not this my sister."
Automatically think, okay, they were blood sisters. No, right? My sisters, just like we say, shalom, sister, right? They said the same thing back in those days, right? You see, Raguel called his wife Edna. He said, "Sister, prepare the chamber," right? Why? Because they're what? So they call them our sisters, right? So your wife is your sister, and she's of your same nation. Everybody understand that? Read.
"And now, O Yahweh, I take not this my sister for lust, but uprightly. Therefore, mercifully ordain that we may become aged together."
Right, and we get old together. Read on.
"And she said with him, Aman."
And she said with him, Aman. What does that mean? There's a agreement. All right, there's a pact. There is a covenant made between man and woman when they marry. Okay? A covenant is made. We have to make sure we understand that. All right? If there's no covenant made, you're dealing with fornication. If you lay together, get up and say, oh, well, maybe we'll, come together one day. When we marry, what you just got married. What are you talking about? Right? In today's society, what do? They date, right? They be laying with this man for this amount of time, this man, this, that. They get to about 30 years old, and they say, I want to settle down. I want to get married. You been married how many times? Let's get saved down. Okay. Let's get saved down for, because Christ dealt with that spirit already. He dealt with that spirit in the scriptures. Okay? That's nothing new. Ain't nothing new under the sun. I think they doing something new. It's already been done already.
Where do you want to start at? I get the whole thing. 7. You start at 7 and get the whole story. Just read it straight through.
Let's start with 13.
Okay. The book of St. John, chapter 4, verse 13. St. John 4 and 13. Yahushua answered and said unto her, whosoever drinketh of this water shall thirst again.
Right.
But whosoever shall drink of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst. But the water that I shall give him shall be in him a well of water springing up into everlasting life.
Come on.
The woman said unto him, Sir, give me this water, that I thirst not, neither come hither to draw.
Right.
Yahushua saith unto her, Go, call thy husband, and come hither.
Right. So he said, oh, you want this water? Go get your husband and come here. So what he's going to do now, he's going to expose her sin. Right. She asked for the living water. She asked for that blessing of the kingdom of heaven. Right. So he said, oh, yeah, go get your husband and come here. Right. And we'll talk about this. Read on.
The woman answered and said,
what she said?
I have no husband.
I have what?
I have no husband.
She said, I don't have no husband. Read on.
Yahushua said unto her, Thou hast well said.
Right? You for real. You don't have no husband. Read on.
I have no husband.
I have no husband. He said, you know what? You said a smart thing. You told the truth when you said you had no husband. Read on.
For thou hast had 5 husbands.
Thou hast had how many?
5 husbands.
For thou hast had 5 husbands. What is he talking about? What did she do 5 times? She been dating. Right? That's what they call it in this kingdom.
Living a single life.
She living single. She was chilling.
A hot girl summer.
Right? A hot girl summer. Right? That's what she was doing. That's what our women do today.
Right.
I don't have no husband. Are you a virgin? Right? If not, then you had a husband at some point in time. Right? Read on.
For thou hast had 5 husbands.
Come on.
And he whom thou now hast, let me do that again. For thou hast had 5 husbands, and he whom thou now hast is not thy husband.
Right?
And that saith thou truly.
And that saith thou truly. I mean, what? The guy you laying with now, you have no covenant with.
Right.
You ain't staying with that joker either.
Yeah.
Okay? You ain't staying with him either. So what? She's dealing with fornication. He's exposing the fact that she's dealing with fornication. Read on.
The woman saith unto him, Sir, I perceive that thou art a prophet.
Right? He read her card, bro. He said, yeah, you must be a prophet. How you know my business like that? Right? So it's what? She didn't deny it. No. That what? She didn't lose. So that's what we talking about. That our woman, you can't be going from man to man to man to man. You can't do that. I'm to be their wife. If they're going to lay with 2 women, that women have to be their wives. Okay? If whatever woman you touch, you uncover their nakedness, that is your wife. And as for our women, once a man makes you his wife, you're a wedlock to that man, not to be broken. All right? Not to be broken, but to stay. This is what the Most High gave us, man. All right? This is what the Most High gave us. We have to understand this. It's written in the Word. Right? We're not making we're not speaking our own words. We're coming right out of the scriptures. Okay? Let's get let's take a look at his household. Matter of fact, we're gonna go in order. First, we're gonna deal with. Let's go back to Noah. Let's go. Give me Genesis 8 and 15.
And the Most High spake unto Noah, saying, Go forth of the ark, thou and thy wife and thy sons,
Right?
and thy sons' wives with thee.
Mm-hmm.
Bring forth with thee every living thing that is with thee, of all flesh, both of fowl and of cattle, and of every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth, that they may and multiply upon the earth.
Right, to breed abundantly, be fruitful and multiply. This was always what the Most High prescribed us to do. To breed, right? To breed, to be fruitful and to multiply in the earth. Now, some people might say, well, we're in captivity, right? We shouldn't be breeding and multiplying. Let's see if that's true. Hold that where you at. Get Jeremiah. The 29th chapter, I believe it is. So we in captivity, we don't need to be multiplying. Let's see.
4.
4. So 4.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 29 and verse 4.
Mm-hmm.
Jeremiah 29 and verse 4.
Uh-huh.
Thus saith the Most High of hosts,
Come on.
the power of Israel,
Read.
unto all that are carried away captives,
Uh-huh.
whom I have caused to be carried away from Jerusalem unto Babylon.
So they were carried away onto ancient Babylon, right? From Jerusalem. So they were in captivity, captive of another nation, Israel. Come on.
Build ye houses.
Do what?
Build ye houses.
Build your houses. A lot of people say, oh, they don't need to have no house. You know, they live in their house. They live their life like, you know, they're just gonna be on the street. All right. It says build houses. Read on and do what?
Build ye houses and dwell in them.
Right. Come on.
And plant gardens.
Come on.
And eat the fruit of them.
Read.
Take ye wives.
Do what?
Take ye wives.
Take ye wives. Read on.
And beget sons.
Right.
And daughters.
Have children. That's what the scriptures say in your captivity. Why? Read.
And take wives for your sons.
Uh-huh.
And give your daughters to husbands.
Come on.
That they may bear sons and daughters.
Mm-hmm.
That ye may be increased there. Right. And not diminished.
And not diminished. So what? We have to multiply our people. We go out and teach the people, but we also have children, and we raise them up to what? Serve the law, statute, commandments of the Most High God. That's how the nation grows. That's how the nation doesn't diminish. Right? So this is what we're prescribed in captivity. All right? These are my own words. You read the scriptures. Read on.
Oh, they're saying it's buffering off and on. They're saying it's hanging there. But it's straight now. But
it's straight right now?
It's been going off and on now.
Let me put
something with the
put the power in my phone.
Oh, okay.
God, it should be better now. Go ahead.
Let me read on.
Well, you get the point.
Okay.
You know, have children in your captivity. Right there, written in Jeremiah 23 and 4. Right? 29 and 4. Sorry. 29 and 4 and down. Right? So we are instructed on what to do. We don't have to make it up our own selves. The Bible tells us what to do. So we're supposed to be marrying, having children, our children having children. And we raise these children to serve the Most High. Right? Scripture say, desire not the multitude of unprofitable children. Right? We have children, they're supposed to serve the Most High. Or we shouldn't be desiring to have them. Everybody understand that? It's not just having them, but you got to raise them to serve Yah. Right? Scripture say one righteous child is better than many wicked children. Right? But you have one that's righteous. All right, which is another topic. We don't go there. Let's go back to, so we got Noah, his wife, his sons, and their wives coming off the ship. right? That's how the earth was repopulated. Noah and his 3 sons and their wives, right? Now let's get Genesis 11 and 27. Genesis 11, verse 27. What we understand tonight is Hebrews 13, verse 4. And I read, marriage is honorable in all, and the bed undefiled. But whoremongers and adulterers Yahweh will judge. So we don't want to fall under whoremongering or adultery. But we shall what? We're going to promote marriage in Israel. We're going to push marriage in Israel, because this is what's going to bring us closer to righteousness. It's going to bring our families together. It's going to bring our generations together. And the fact of the matter is, in righteous marriage, the man is not constrained to only having one wife. There's no scripture that says we're constrained to that. But we're going to get what Paul said. We're going to go into all that tonight. We're going to understand why he said it, what he said and why he said it. Let's read.
The book of Genesis, chapter 11, verse 27.
Come on.
Now these are the generations of Terah. Terah begot Abram, Lot, and Haran died before his father Terah in the land of his nativity in Ur of the Chaldees.
Right.
And Abram and Nahor took them wives.
Right.
The name of Abram's wife was Sarah.
Right.
And of Haran, the father of Milcah, and the father of Ishkar.
Right. So what? They took wives. They had marriages. All our forefathers, the righteous men that came before us, took their wives and had children. So this is what the Most High prescribed us to do. All right. They married. He said it took his wife Sarai. Right. He didn't get a girlfriend. He didn't get to jump off. He got a wife Sarai. Right. Now let's get Genesis 16 and 1. Genesis 16 and 1.
The book of Genesis, chapter 16, verse 1.
Come on.
Now Sarah, Abram's wife, bare him no children.
Right.
And she had a handmaid, an Egyptian, whose name was Hagar.
Right. Hagar. Come on.
And Sarah said unto Abram, behold now, the Most High have restrained me from bearing. I pray thee, go in unto my maid, and it may be that I may obtain children by her.
Right. So she said her womb was not giving her children. So she told her husband, lay with her maid. Now, if Sarai was, that's wicked, why would she tell her husband to lay with her maid? Evidently, right, there is no law that says, or no restraint on the man to say he cannot lie with another woman. There's no restraint, right? But the key to understanding the way this marriage is supposed to work is the key to understanding the order, right? None of us that have children in here, right, would allow our children to tell us what we should and should not be doing, right? There's an order, right? Our wives should not be telling their husband what they should and should not be doing, right? We can't tell Christ what he should and should not be doing, and Christ damn sure ain't gonna tell the Most High what he could and cannot do, right? That's backwards. So if the Most High, if Christ trusts the Most High, and we trust Christ, what should our wives do to us? They're supposed to trust us. And what should our children do to their parents? To the side of the Most High. And if it's not, that their elder will correct them, right? But we have this thing in this society where everything is backwards, right? Why is it that way? It was prophesied to be that way. The scriptures say that what? A woman shall compass a man. Give me that real quick.
Let me finish this.
Finish here. Finish where you are. We'll get there. We'll get there. I'm
right.
jumping around.
Okay.
We'll get there. Let's stay where we're at.
Genesis 16, verse 2. And Sarah said unto Abram, behold now, the Most High have restrained me from bearing. I pray thee, go in unto my maid. It may be that I may obtain children by her.
So whose idea was this? This was Sarai's idea. It was not Abraham's idea. So that don't think the thought pattern every time that a man takes a second wife or another wife, that is his idea for his lust and all these things that I've heard. he's being nasty, he's this and he's that. That is wicked as hell. That's a wicked mentality.
The lust is on the other side, actually.
Right.
The lust is the woman.
The lust is actually the one that says you can't do that.
You can't do right.
Because you want the man all to yourself. Right? That's the lust. That's the desire. Right? But the Most High never said that that's the case. Right?
I pray thee, go in unto my maid, and it may be that I may obtain children by her.
Right?
And Abram hearkened unto the voice of Sarah.
Right? And Abram listened to the voice of Sarah. Abram was a righteous man or a wicked man? So if she was trying to tell him to do something wicked, would he have done it? No, he wouldn't have done it. That's show you that what? There couldn't be no wickedness here. There's no sin here. All right? Let's go to Genesis 24, verse 1. Genesis 24, verse 1.
The book of Genesis, chapter 24, verse 1. Genesis 24 and verse 1. And Abraham was old and well stricken in age. And the Most High had blessed Abraham in all things. And Abraham said unto his eldest servant of his house, that ruled over all that he had, right? Put, I pray thee, thy hand under my thigh, right? And I will make thee swear by the Most High the power of heaven and the power of the earth, that thou shalt not take a wife unto my son of the daughters of the Canaanites among whom I dwell.
Right. So what? It was an abomination, right? That his son Isaac would take a wife of the Canaanite. All right, which goes right in line with all the other scriptures we went over there. We're not supposed to touch these other nations, right? Or they're being your wife. Okay. There's only certain situations that you would take another nation as a labor of another nation, like between Sarai and Hagar, where Hagar already belonged to Sarai, so that's why he was able to label her, because she was one with Sarai. All right. So now jump down to the 24th verse. We're in Genesis 24.
Genesis 24, verse 24. And she said unto him, I am the daughter of Bethuel, the son of Milcah, which she bare unto Nahor. She said moreover unto him, we have both straw and provender enough and room to lodge in. And the man bowed down his head and worshiped the Most High. And he said, blessed be the Most High, the power of my master Abraham, who have not left destitute my master of his mercy and his truth. I, being in the way of the Most High, led me to the house of my master's brethren.
Right.
And the damsel ran and told them of her mother's house these things.
Right.
And Rebekah had a brother, and his name was Laban. And Laban ran out unto the man unto the well.
Right.
And it came to pass, when he saw the earring and bracelets upon his sister's hands, and when he heard the words of Rebekah his sister, saying, thus spake the man unto me, that he came unto the man, and behold, he stood by the camels at the well. And he said, come in, thou blessed of the Most High. Wherefore standest thou without? For I have prepared the house and a room for the camels.
Right. So what happened here? This is him finding Rebekah, whom his master, which is Abraham, swore to find for his son Isaac. All right. For passage of time, let's jump down to the 35th verse.
And the Most High hath blessed my master greatly, and he is become great. And he hath given him flocks and herds and silver and gold and men servants and maid servants and camels and donkeys. And Sarah, my master's wife, bare a son to my master when she was old. And unto him hath he given all that he hath.
Right.
And my master made me swear, saying, thou shalt not take a wife to my son of the daughters of the Canaanites, in whose land I dwell.
Right. So he just explained to them why he's bringing all these gifts to take a woman that has to be of his own kindred. All right. For his master, which is Isaac. Let's jump down to the 65th verse. You can read it in its entirety, but let's jump down to the 64th verse. Read that.
Okay.
So we'll get to the point.
And Rebekah lifted up her eyes, and when she saw Isaac, she lighted. What man is this that walketh in the field to meet us? And the servant has said, it is my master. Therefore she took a veil and covered herself.
Right, so she took a veil and covered herself. To why? To humble herself. Read on.
And the servant told Isaac all things that he had done.
Right.
And Isaac brought her into his mother Sarah's tent.
Right.
And took Rebekah.
In the tent.
They was playing spades.
Nah, they weren't playing spades. No backgammon.
Okay.
They wasn't playing dominoes or chess. Right. He took her and she became his wife. What does that mean? Right? He laid with her. So that's why we understand that the process of laying with a woman makes that woman your what? Your wife. Right? You should have you should have a bill of covenants, but you don't always have that. But the servant already went to the household, made a deal for her. He already gave the gifts, the dowry for her. He took care of all that. So he brought her to Isaac. All that was left to do was what? Was law. As perverted as law is. If a man and woman marry and they never slept together, that marriage can be annulled. You don't have to get a divorce because you never slept together. But once you sleep together, you have to now get a divorce. All right? That's even in Esau's law. Why? Because Esau models his judicial system after the system of the Jews, the real system of the Jews. So his laws are built off our laws. He just perverts them and twists them, right? Because he had the law of marriage, but then what? Then he goes and says, man and man can get married. Women can get married, right? But he add that to the book. Scripture says you should not add nor take away from his law. All right? So that's why he's guilty of these things. And he's going to use Barack Obama to establish it too, right? What a demon, right? So understand that even in the laws of this land, they understand, and we should also understand that the consummation, something happens more than a physical connection when a man and woman lie together. Okay? There's something more that happens. There's ties that happen there. Okay? It's not just a physical connection. Oh, we just having fun. Yeah, you're just having fun because you're impudent. You lack feeling. You lack something that's going on in your spirit. But there's no just having fun when you lay with a woman. All right? If that was the case, the scriptures tell us in, what is that? 2 Corinthians 6, I believe it is. If a man lay with a harlot, he becomes one with that harlot.
Oh, yeah. 3.
Right, I know what you're talking about.
6.
2 Corinthians 6?
No, 1 Corinthians 6.
Right,
And
yes, 1 Corinthians 6. 16, right? Or you want to
start with 14.
14, right?
Yeah.
1 Corinthians 6 and 14.
Come on.
The book of 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 14.
Come on.
And the Most High have both raised up, right, the other one, and will also raise up us by his own power.
Uh-huh.
Know ye not that your bodies are the members of a Mashiach?
Right.
Shall I then take the members of a Mashiach and make them the members of a harlot?
Come on.
Most High forbid.
Read.
What? Know ye not that he which is joined to a harlot is one body?
Is what?
One body?
When you lay with that woman, you become in one body with her. That's why you got to have a righteous woman. Everybody understand that? You lay down with a demon, wonder why you got demons on you. And you scratching your head. Why am I thus? Why am I going through this? Right? You got to think about these things, man. You're supposed to be wiser than that coming to this truth, man. You gotta check that woman out. Is she right? Is she honest, trustworthy? She a good person? She may not know all scripture, but you gotta determine if this woman is a good person or is she a demon, right?
Yeah.
Because if she a demon, you're gonna be having that demon in your house, and you're gonna be laying down and joining to her. Okay. All right, they gotta understand that. All right, we gotta stop making these same errors, man. Especially our brothers that have been in the truth a long time. Y'all know we gotta understand. Y'all should get a righteous woman, man. It ain't gonna be that she might be having all the breakdowns, but she gotta be honest, trustworthy. You know what I'm saying? Helpful. The scriptures say kindness in her tongue. That's what the scriptures talk about, right? You need to have the verses. You give her the verses. She don't gotta have the verses. You give her the understanding. She don't need to have all the understanding. But she has to have the core values of what it is a righteous woman is. Right? Humble. Right? Quiet spirit. She loud and boisterous and kicking up a ruckus. That's not the type of woman you want. How you come in the truth and you want to be married to Megan Thee Stallion? Right? And you're in the truth. You want to show up to the shop to the Passover, with Nicki Minaj on your arm. What's going off, right?
Listen, I'm teaching her.
What's that?
I'm training her up. I'm making her right.
I'm gonna bring it to the truth. No, you're not.
To the truth.
She's gonna bring you to death. That's what's gonna happen there. That's what's gonna happen. You're not bringing her to no truth. She don't want no truth. Okay, sis. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying the same thing. I'm saying that there's values in a woman. In the truth or in the world are concepts of saying somebody who knows they're Israelite and somebody that doesn't know. But you can deal with a woman that doesn't know she's an Israelite, kind, she's smart, she's quiet, right? She's honest, right? And then you can give her the words of the Most High because you're dealing with the root matter. But you got women that know this word and they loud, right? And they come on, knowing the word don't make you righteous. So being so-called in the truth don't make no difference, right? We talking about core values of someone that you want to spend the rest of your life with, and you want to go home with, right? Somebody that clean up after themselves, right? Somebody you don't want nobody that's that's got a filthy mouth, right? That speak all. That's what the scriptures talk about. When the scriptures go into a virtuous woman, a righteous woman, look at the values there. It never said she got the breakdowns. It never said that. We're gonna go. We might have time. What time is it? Because you know me, I keep going, right? So, but there's no scripture that says you need a woman that got the breakdowns, that understand it. No, she has to be have core values, man. Core values. Look it up in Proverbs 31, verse 10 on down. Core values of this woman, right? It wasn't about her having the breakdown, about her being a good person. All right. Someone you can dwell with. That's the main thing. You know what I mean? If she know how to honor her man, when the man says, listen, no pork on your fork, she ain't gonna put it there. Right? She's gonna honor her husband. All right. So it really doesn't matter whether she's in the truth or not, because there's demons in this truth, man. Can we keep it real with you? All right. All right, so you join yourself to a harlot. You're one with that harlot. You are now become one with a fornicator, and you are a fornicator as well. All right, you fall for a woman because of her sexual appetite, right? And then next you know that same sexual appetite that you fall for with, now you got to contend with that down the lane, right? Right? You thought it was about you. You thought it was you. Like what was that? Belle Biv DeVoe? What was that? You thought it was me, right? I'm going way back with it, right? You thought it was you. The woman was poison, right? Yeah. Right. Right. Big button to smile. There you go. Right. That woman was poison before you knew it. Huh? And she knew she was an Israelite, right? No, it's Belle Biv DeVoe. Belle Biv DeVoe, man. That's not New Edition. That's after New Edition. That's after New Edition. Yeah. All right. So we go into understanding. So marriage. We went into some core values tonight. Understand that our forefathers that were righteous had multiple wives. Not the ones, we're not talking about wicked. We're talking about righteous. Okay? And there was no sin there because there's no sin to be committed there. Adultery is if a woman that's married sleeps with a another man, or a man sleeps with a married woman. That is adultery. That's wicked. That's fornication. Fornication is any sexual act that's not of marriage. It's not of covenant. Okay. We went into different aspects of fornication. All right. Let's get back to our forefathers a bit, and we're going to wrap it up soon. Get Genesis 29. 25 verse 1. Genesis 25 verse 1. Genesis 25 verse 1.
The book of Genesis, chapter 25, verse 1. Then again Abraham took a wife, and her name was Keturah, and she bare him Zimrah, and Jokshan,
Right.
and Midian,
Mhm.
and Ishbak, and Shuna,
Right.
and Jokshan begot Sheba, and Dedan, and the sons of Dedan were Ashurim, and Ashurim, and Lithium, Midian, and the sons of Midian, Ephah, and Ephah, and Abidiah, and Elidiah. All these were the children of Keturah.
Right.
And Abraham gave all that he had unto Isaac.
Right.
But unto the sons of the concubines.
The sons of who?
The concubines.
Wait a minute. Which concubines? So you tell me Abraham had concubines? Abraham was righteous or wicked?
Righteous.
Did he have concubines? Read on.
But unto the sons of the concubines, which
Come on.
Abraham had, Abraham gave gifts.
He gave what?
Gifts.
He gave gifts, but what? Mainly everything went to Isaac. Why? Because he knew the blessing was on Isaac.
Right.
Right? But he had concubines. He had children with Keturah. Right? But they were concubines to him, meaning they were a lower level of wife. Right? Well, wife, but a lower level of wife. Right? Read on.
And sent them away from Isaac his son country. And these are the days of the years of Abraham's life, which he lived, 160 years.
Mm-hmm.
Then Abraham gave up the spirit and died in the good old age,
Right?
and an old man and full of years, and was gathered to his people.
Right. So he died of full age. He wasn't cursed. He wasn't jacked up because of his concubines and his children. He did everything in righteousness and died of full age and went on and lay with his fathers. Okay. Go to Genesis 29, verse 12. Genesis 29, verse 12.
Genesis 29, verse 12.
Uh-huh.
And Jacob told Rachel that he was her father's brother,
Uh-huh.
and that he was Rebekah's son.
Uh-huh.
And she ran and told her father. And it came to pass, when Laban heard the tidings of Jacob's, his son, his sister's son, that he ran to meet him and embraced him and
Right.
kissed him
Right.
and brought him to his house.
Come on.
And he told Laban all these things.
Right. Now jump to the 21st verse.
And Jacob said unto Laban,
Right.
give me my wife,
Right.
for my days are fulfilled, that I may go in unto her.
Right. So he ended up working for his wife. The wife he wanted was Rachel, and he worked for her. And he said, now it's time for you to give me my wife. I paid my debt. I gave my dowry through work. Let me get my wife. Read on.
And Laban gathered together all the men of the place and made a feast.
What's it called? It's a what? It's a wedding.
Wedding party.
It's a wedding party. It's a wedding ceremony. Right? Same way that Tobit did. They celebrated, right? Right? They made a feast. After they made the deal, then they said they ate and they drank. Right? So we have a feast at a wedding ceremony. We eat and we drink. Why? Because it's a beautiful thing when a man and a woman marry. Okay? It is a blessed thing of Yah. When a man, the scripture says, if a man finds a virtuous woman, right? You find a good thing.
Right.
Right? You find a wife, you find a good thing. A good thing. A wife is a good thing to be added to a man. All right? It's supposed to be a pillar of rest. Right? Read on.
And it came to pass in the evening that he took Leah, his daughter, and brought her to him, and he went in unto her.
Right? So they've been eating and drinking, having a good time. Now it's time for the bedchamber. Put her in the bedchamber. He sent Jacob in the bedchamber with the woman. Jacob lied with the woman. Right? Bedchamber must have been dark, man. Right? Read on.
And Laban gave unto his daughter Leah Zilpah, his maid, it was Leah. And he said to Laban, what is this thou hast done unto me?
Right?
Did not I serve with thee for Rachel?
Right?
Wherefore then hast thou beguiled me?
Right?
And Laban said, it must not be so done in our country.
Right?
To give the younger before the firstborn.
Right?
Fulfill her week, and we will give thee this also for the service which thou shalt serve with me yet 7 other years.
Right. So fulfill her week, man. So listen, give it a week. Right?
I don't anymore.
That whatever case would be a week is how many days? 7 days, right? And then you'll get Rachel. The Bible said, no sweat, right? You know what I'm saying, guys? It's days, not years. Then he had to what? Work another 7 years to now leave. All right, let's read.
All right. And Laban gave to Rachel his daughter Bilhah, his handmaid, to be her handmaid. And he went in also unto Rachel.
See that? So he went in also unto Rachel. What does it mean? He went in also unto her. He slept with her too, right? Why did he sleep with her? What did that make her? His wife, right? So first Leah was his wife, and then he slept with Rachel. Rachel was his wife, right? Read on.
And he went in also unto Rachel, and he loved also Rachel more than Leah.
Right, because that's what he was after. It was Rachel, wasn't Leah. But the Most High had his plan, right? Sometimes, man, we have our plan, and the Most High have his own plan. That's why we always tell people here when we do our marriage counsel that one covenant we cannot instill is that this will be your only wife to a man. To have these wives, it wasn't Jacob's idea. It was his idea. Because I know that he was going to use Jacob to what? Have 12 children very fast. And you can't have 12 children very fast with one woman. It makes sense? Right? So you can't have 12 children but so fast with one woman. So he had to have 12 children, and the Most High is going to expound it. All right.
Okay. And he went in also, and he loved also Rachel more than Leah, and served with him yet 7 other years.
Shalom, guy. Oh, no, the caller hung up. I thought I had a call on the line. All right, let's read. So yet he served another 7 years. So that's when he served the 7 years. You see that, sis? He lay with her, he went in onto her, and then he served another 7 years. Right. All right, so he did work 7 years for Rachel too, but he already had her. All right, so he wasn't, Laban just said fulfill Leah's week. Right. Meaning that's like that honeymoon period, that 7 days of just you and her, and then I'll give you Rachel. Then he went in on to Rachel, and then he had to work another 7 years while he had Rachel and Leah. All right? Jump down to the 35th verse. Or did you read that?
Genesis 29:35. And she conceived again and bare a son. And she said, now will I praise the Most High. Therefore she called his name Judah and left barren. So
Leah having 4 sons off the rip, right? 4 sons off the rip. Read on.
Oh, that was it. Chapter 30?
Yeah, 30 verse 1 through 5.
Genesis 30, chapter 1. And when Rachel saw that she no children, Rachel envied her sister, or else I die. And Jacob's anger was kindled against Rachel. And he said, am I in the Most High stead?
Right.
Who have withheld from thee the fruit of the womb?
Come on.
And she said, behold, my maid Bilhah, go in unto her, and she shall bear upon my knees,
Uh-huh.
that I may also have children by her.
Mhm.
And she gave him Bilhah, her handmaid, to wife.
And she gave him Bilhah, the handmaid, to wife, for him to what? Lay with her. Read on.
And Jacob went in unto her.
Right.
And Bilhah conceived and bare Jacob a son.
Now, was Jacob a wicked man? So why would he do this wickedness and lay with this other woman if it was wickedness? So it's very simple. We make it more complicated than it is. We know it's not. These men are not wicked. Abraham wasn't wicked, right? Isaac wasn't wicked. This is our heritage we're talking about, okay? And the Most High said he's going to feed us with our heritage. So this is our heritage, all right? So we understand that in the Most High's and the Lord's marriage, there is no restraint to the man on the amount of wives he can have, all right? Get 2 Chronicles 13, verse 21. We're going to start to wrap it in now. 2 Chronicles 13, verse 21.
Right. 2 Chronicles chapter 13, verse 21. But Abadiah waxed mightily and married 14 wives.
How many wives?
14 wives.
All right, so it's not about 1 and 2 wives. Because Abadiah had 14 wives. Read on.
And begat 22 sons.
22 sons. Read.
And 16 daughters.
Right? That's being fruitful and what? Multiplying. Read on.
And the rest of the acts of Obadiah and his ways and his sayings are written in the story of the prophet Iddo.
Right. So it's not go too much into him, but it was showing you what kind of he said he waxed mighty. What made him mighty? 14 wives and 22 children, 22 sons. That made him mighty.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we have the wrong concept and mentality when it comes to family and marriage. It's not all about what the man could do for you. It's about being part of a mighty family, raising your children to be great men and women, right? And blessing that house with great men and women.
I'm gonna ask a question.
All right, what's the question?
Were the handmaids considered surrogate mothers?
We don't have these things in Israel, right? That's what we got to get out of that mentality. Don't try to tie the word of the Most High to this kingdom. All right, we don't want to consider them anything but wives.
Yeah.
Right? They were wives. That's all they were. Right? Now, was the purpose of the wife because she felt she wasn't bearing? Yes, they did that because of that. But not all of the wives were for that purpose. All right? Leah, Leah and Rachel wasn't for that purpose. The 14 wives of Abijah was not for that purpose. The 2 wives of David was not for that purpose. So, it's different.
Even if you took the wife for that particular reason to rear up, have children, it's still your woman.
You can take a woman, put your seed in this woman.
Right.
She's a surrogate mother. It's a business deal. She go on to the next one. She do surrogate mothering for a whole bunch of people. Right? She's a cyber whore. Right? What sense does that make? What do you call it? A laboratory rat. You know what I mean? Or something like that. That's foolishness, man. That's not what we know. We don't deal with that stuff. All right? We took another wife. The woman wasn't bearing. Right? The woman said, I wasn't bearing. Take that other woman. Not the man. Right? The woman said, you know what? I want my household to have children. Okay? Remember, when a wild woman don't have no children, that is a reproach unto a woman. All right? Let's get Isaiah 4:1. I'm sorry, sis, your question. It's another prophet that's mentioned, but not. We don't have a book for him, so yeah. Let's get Isaiah 4:1.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 4, verse 1.
Come on.
And in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man.
Let's see what he's saying. We're going to do. Read.
Saying, we will eat our own bread,
right,
wear our own apparel.
right,
Only let us be called by thy name.
right. So what is this? What are they saying there? We're going to be a family. We're going to eat our own bread. We're going to wear our own apparel. We're going to be a family. Only let us be called by thy name. Only let us be what? When the woman is called by a man's name, what does that mean? That she is his wife, right? So they're asking to be this one man's wife. Read on.
Okay. We will eat of our own bread and wear our own apparel.
Come on.
Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach.
To take away our what?
Reproach.
What's the reproach that they have? They want to have what? A family. They want to have children. They want to have a household. Reproach means complaint. Read on.
In that day shall the branch of the Most High be beautiful.
So in that same day, the branch of the Most High is what? Beautiful. It's beautiful. What's the branch of the Most High? Who's the branch of the Most High? We are. We are his branches, and we are the branch. In that day, the branch of the Most High was going to be beautiful. Why? Because we're going to be multiplying. Right? The man going to have children is going to be wonderful. Read on.
In that day shall the branch be glorious, and the fruit of the earth shall be excellent, and the comely for them that are escaped of Israel.
Right, for them that are Israel. So what? We're gonna be beautified in that sense. Okay, that those that escape and coming out of what? Out of this judgment. So that's the future for us too, man. So it's our past, it's our future, and it's our present. How many people did you know, have a wife and a woman on the side, quote, what they say, wifey and matey and all this kind of foolishness that they talk about, right? And then they want to deny their children by their second wife because they're not bred and brought up in the ways of the Most High. That they dishonor their second wife. They dishonor their second wife's children. They call them the children from the outside, or they have all these different names for them.
Call them the love child,
the love child, or the illegitimate family. All these. It's wickedness, man.
Yeah.
And why do they do this? Because they try to put up this persona or follow after Esau's kingdom when it says that he says in his books that a man can only have one wife.
Right.
Right. That's on Esau's books. It's not on ours. Go ahead. It says, escape the judgments. This is a future. That's a future prophecy. No, that's us that escape. Us that didn't get destroyed, because a lot of us are going to get destroyed when the judgment comes. So we escape that judgment, right? So while we're alive,
right,
we're going to be taking wives and children, and we're going to multiply our families once again on the earth in righteousness. You know what I mean? So those are the ones that escaped that judgment. Verse 1. 1 Timothy 3 and verse 1.
First Timothy chapter 3 and verse 1.
Try to kill it in 10 more minutes.
This is a true saying. If a man desire the office of a bishop, he desireth a good work.
Right?
A bishop then must be blameless, the husband of one wife,
right?
Diligent,
right?
Sober, of good behavior, given to hospitality, apt to teach,
right?
Not given to wine, nor a striker, not greedy or filthy lucre, but patient, not a brawler, not a covetous, one that ruleth well in his own house, having his children in subjection with all gravity.
Right.
For if a man know not how to rule his house, how shall he take care of the church of the Most High?
Right. So this is take care of the what?
Church of the Most High.
So now this bishop is over the church. This is a specific position, right? And it says he should take one wife, right? He said, and it went on to a list of other things that he should do, not a brawler, not fighting, not doing all these things, right? So why did Paul say that he should take one wife? Let's see. Let's get 1 Corinthians 7 and verse 32. But if I start with 29, 7 and 29.
1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 29.
Come on.
But this I say, brethren, the time is short. It remaineth that both that they and they that weep as though they wept not,
Right.
and they that rejoice as though they rejoice not,
Right.
and they that buy as though they possess not.
Why is he saying this? He said he should be like, if you have wives, like you don't have no wife. If you have possessions, like you have no possessions. What is he preparing them for? Huh? No. This is not about a bishop here. This is a time period that he's preparing. He's preparing us for. All right. Let's go up a little higher so we understand exactly what he's talking about. Go to 25, verse 25.
1 Corinthians 7:25.
Mm-hmm.
Now concerning virgins,
Right.
I have no commandment of the Most High, yet I give my judgment as one that hath obtained mercy of the Most High to be faithful.
Right.
I suppose, therefore, that this is good for the present distress.
For the what?
For the present distress.
What does it mean for the present distress? Time of trouble. What trouble? What's happening? What's going on? What Paul talking about? What's the situation? Gotta know your history. What time did Paul was Paul upon the earth? What was going on? What was happening? It was heavy persecution happening to Israel at that time, right? Under Herod, under the Romans. He said, for the present distress, right? For the virgins, better you stay that way because of what you're going to be going through in this time period, right? Remember, we're leading up to what at this point? We're leading up to what is called 70 AD, all right? When what? All Israel was besieged and destroyed, okay? And cast out of the land of Israel. So for the present distress, he said, for the virgin, stay a virgin. Read on.
Verse 26. Suppose, therefore, that this is good for the present distress. I say that it is good for a man so to be.
Right?
Art thou bound unto a wife? Seek not to be loosed.
Right. He said, don't leave your wife. Read on.
Art thou loose from a wife?
But if you've been loose from your wife, read on.
Seek not a wife.
Don't get a wife. So he's giving you a different instruction here. This is instruction because of what? Of what? The distress. Right? Read on.
And if thou marry,
right,
thou hast not sinned.
He said, if you marry, you haven't sinned. Read on.
And if a virgin marry, she hath not sinned.
Right?
Nevertheless, such shall have trouble in the flesh. But I spare you.
Right, but you're going to have problems in the flesh. Why? Because you're going to be worried about that wife, and that wife going to be worried about that husband. Why? Because of the distress. Read on.
Nevertheless, such shall have trouble.
Okay. But this I say.
Read 28.
Okay.
But if thou marry, thou hast not sinned. And if a virgin marry, she hath not sinned. Nevertheless, such shall have trouble in the flesh, but I spare you.
Read.
But this I say, brethren, the time is short. It remaineth that both they that have wives be as though they had none.
Right, so you got to move like you don't have a wife. I mean, you can't worry about your wife because it's hard times. Read on.
And they that weep as though they wept not.
Right, because nobody hearing you weeping. Read on.
And they that rejoice as though they rejoice not.
Right, come on.
And they that buy as though they possess not.
Come on.
And they that use this world, of this world passeth away.
That time was going to be passed away. Come on.
But I will have you without carefulness, he that is unmarried,
right,
care for the things that belongeth to the Most High,
right,
how he may please the Most High.
Read on.
But he that is married,
right,
care for the things that are of the world,
right,
how he may please his wife.
Right, how he may please what?
His wife.
Right, so what? So now why do you think he said a bishop and a deacon to take one wife?
There's so much to manage for the church. There's so much stuff.
Exactly. It's very simple. It's time management he's talking about. He's not saying that it's evil to have more than one wife, but he said take one wife if you're going to be the bishop or the deacon, because you got to look after what? The church, right? You have work to do for the church. So you are going to be occupied and consumed with doing the work for the church. So you don't have time for the wives. That's all he's saying. He never said that it was wicked to have more than one wife. He said take one wife. Even for him to say to take one wife shows you that you can have more than one wife. Why would he be telling you to take one? Right? He didn't say don't be an adulterer. That ain't nothing. But that's everything to do with what? Time management. Being wise, using wisdom, right?
And that link up to what you said earlier about the husband duty. He has to still please his wife.
That's right.
So
you got a job, you got this, you got that, and you're trying to teach the word. When you got time for the word? Right? You got to think about that. Because every wife going one time. Right? Ain't gonna be no wife with no time. What time you got for? So you gotta use wisdom. Right? That's why we don't encourage brothers to go get multiple wives, but we tell them to get one good wife, so you don't have to have, wife or type of wife. But I can't tell you can't have it. Then I'll be wicked, right? I can't tell you it's sin. I'll be wicked to tell you that, right? But as advice for our brothers in this time of distress and time we're living in, it's better that you have one good wife, right? It make life a lot simpler. But if you can't contain, if there's some other reason, like Sister brought out, like they were having situations with children being born and things of that sort, there was a reason or an idea of why you need this other wife, you go get your other wife. I can't tell you not to, right? Right? Or the brother, if like in Jacob's case, he just desired to have Rachel, although he had Leah, but he desired to have Rachel, fulfill his desire, right? But let's not use it, the fact that you can have more than a wife, to be a whoremonger, to be running around with a bunch of women and not taking care of these women. That's why these women, these women out here, before you marry someone, you're supposed to have counsel. You're supposed to have someone to give you away in marriage. Why they got to give you away? Because they don't look over this marriage to see, can it work? Is it righteousness? Is it for a benefit? Right? They're not caught up in the emotion of the matter. This is why we have your father, and your father's unavailable. The scriptures say that we got to be father to the fatherless. Right? Mission, and look over this woman and make sure that this marriage is what is prosperous and righteous in the sight. So we went over a lot tonight. Of course, there's always more, but I think we better, right now it's 10:30, so we're gonna pause for the cause. Hopefully it was edifying. Hopefully you got some of your questions answered. There's wisdom and knowledge and understanding. If there's other questions out there, remember we're breaking down Hebrews 13 verse 4. Marriage is honorable in all, and the bed undefiled, but whoremongers and adulterers the Most High will judge. All praises be to Yahweh logging in and hearing the word of the Most High. Of course, there's a lot more, but I think we've laid down a foundation and understanding. Maybe we'll do a part two if it need be. If there's still some understanding out there, but what we want to cover is we're not going to be whoremongers. We're not going to be adulterers. We're going to marry in Israel. All right, we're going to marry. We're going to have wives, and we're going to have children. Our children are going to beget children. Right, until the Most High come and get us. Right, LOC, to the Most High save me. Right.
There you go.
And we're gonna say shalom, and we're gonna send up the Lord's prayer as we wrap up the service. Hallelujah. Imagine what Panya Yerushalayim, stand and face Jerusalem. And we're going to send out the Lord's Prayer, English translation. Bless everyone that's logged into the class tonight. I hope that it was edifying. Hope you got some wisdom, knowledge, and understanding with the scriptures that came out. Blowing the shofar to close out this convocation.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Who's the power? Who's the power? Bahashim? Bahashim? Abi Yahweh, please hear our prayer and receive our supplication. The Mashak Palau, Matthew chapter 6, verse 9. After this manner, therefore, pray ye, Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, power and the glory forever. Amen. For if you forgive men their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if you forgive not men their trespasses, neither will your Father forgive your trespasses. Bahashim Hamashiach Yahushai, the water, the Yad, Haman. Most High.
Shalom to everybody online. The water for logging in.